Veruca, I learned something this week. I learned that Catherine O'Hara was the voice of Sally in Nightmare Before Christmas. Did you know that?
Wait, no, I didn't know that at all. I think
Yeah.
like her most iconic role to me is have you watched Schitt's Creek?
No, I've not.
Oh, okay. I love that show. That's like her best role, I think, in my opinion.
But yeah, I had no idea. All these years she was the voice of Sally
Yeah, I never
in
knew that
Nightmare
either.
Before Christmas. Yeah, it's a shame we lost her.
Mhm.
I'm not a big celebrity death or celebrity person, but some
Yeah.
I definitely feel more than others. This is one because she was such a huge part of Gen X, from Home Alone, of course, to Beetlejuice, Nightmare Before Christmas. So yeah, it's really sad
Yeah,
to
I feel
lose
like
her.
Catherine O'Hara's character is just so unique in the way that it can be like felt in all of her different roles. And so she's just really special. I don't know.
Yeah.
It sucks.
And so we
Mhm.
want to just, give a few thoughts on Catherine O'Hara, who passed this week, of course. Like I said, she was a big thing to Generation X. She always forgetting her child, which was a very kind of thing that our parents did do, actually, a lot. Anyways, let's get this going. Welcome to From Vinyl to Viral, the podcast where we explore what growing up in different generations means. I'm Wes. I'm a Gen X. Actually, I'm a Zennial. Anyway, I'm joined by world's best co-host, my daughter.
Yep, I'm Veruca, Gen Z daughter, Taylor Swift fanatic, and today, movie lover, I guess.
Today's podcast, we're going to talk about school experiences, how it shaped us, and what we think about when we look back now. Then later on in the crossover, we're going to hit onto high school based movies. Veruca watched Clueless this week, and I watched High School Musical.
I just noticed that you have the Clueless soundtrack vinyl in the background.
Yeah,
I don't know why I didn't see that,
an
but just
Easter
until
egg.
now.
Easter egg. I
It's a good
listened to it on my
Easter egg.
run today, too.
Oh,
All right,
really?
so let's get started. When someone mentions school, what's the first thing you think about, Veruca? What comes to mind?
Probably like my second 2 years of high school, how awful they were. Not because of like bullying or anything, but just the overall experience, I guess.
Was this because I look at your last 2 years, you were like on student council, doing all this other stuff. You were kind of with the quote unquote cool crowd. Was it because of COVID or?
Yeah, I think it was probably COVID. Like, I think I lost out on just most of
Yeah,
the high school experience. I was a senior the year that COVID hit. Or sorry, no. I was a junior the year
junior.
that COVID initially hit, but I fully lost my senior year. So I
Right,
never got my junior prom and I never got my senior prom, and my graduation was like really funky too. So I feel like I my last 2 years of high school got like the full hit of COVID.
right.
Yeah.
I understand that. Outside of that, what do you think about when you think of school?
I guess, like, being an athlete. Like, I never thought about it during school, but now when I, like, look back at high school, I'm like, "Oh, I was in, like, the athlete crowd when they show,
Yeah, a
like,
little
the
bit. I could
cliques
see
in
that.
movies." Like, what do you think about when you think about school?
I think about a lot of things. I think back to school when I was younger, before high school. I didn't have a great time
Mm.
in middle school. I mean, nobody has a good time in middle school,
Oh, yeah.
but also I was bullied from time to
Mhm.
time, and it wasn't real great,
Mhm.
and that affected me quite a bit. So that's kind of what I think about a lot. It was better when I was getting to high school because I was becoming different when people were growing up some.
Mm.
When I say that, I mean like I became less bullyable. If that makes
Yeah.
sense.
Mhm.
Um, because a lot of stuff I brought onto myself after a while, because at first it was like because we didn't have the financial situation that a lot of the kids I went to in school was a big one for me growing up. And I was always super small, skinny, that is. And so I was always kind of bullied for that. But on top of that, I really didn't ever help myself. I was the kid in school whose desk always looked crazy with papers hanging out
Yeah, we
everywhere.
had talked about this. And then
Yeah,
just,
like the
like,
meme.
shoving papers in the backpack.
Yeah. Like the meme, how are you guys doing now? Not good, my dude. Then I kind of fancied myself the class clown. I think a lot of it came from just the way I grew up. I didn't have siblings that were my age, and I lived rural, so I spent a lot of time by myself,
Mhm.
and I always wanted people's attention. But yeah, that's kind of what I think about a lot. And the other thing I think about is a lot of missed opportunities because My parents, and this is like a generational thing too, they never like really guided me. They would always say, get good grades, A's and B's, but they would never tell me why
Mm. Yeah.
because they had never went through that. My parents didn't, but it's also was part of the generation in a way where they just wanted A's and B's and not to mess with it.
Mhm.
And but nobody said, well, if you do this, then you can go to college or you can do X, Y, and Z.
Mhm.
I know for you that was different.
Yeah, I mean, maybe a little bit, but I think I was also just kind of like inherently a perfectionist. That's another thing I think back a lot on for my high school experience was like I was such a perfectionist and there was so much going on in my own head as far as that went. But at the same time, like there was never any reason for it. Like I had built myself up as this perfectionist and like strive to get good grades and like have perfect projects and everything, but there was never really any reason for it. It was just intrinsic motivation, I guess. Nothing really extrinsic about it.
Well, in middle school, there was some extrinsic motivation for sure. In middle school, especially like sixth grade or so, you didn't do anything.
Wait, I don't really remember, I guess, too well. I mean, I feel like I always remember being that way, but who knows?
No, there was a period, if you remember your mom, like there was no TV allowed in the house or
I know you bring
electron.
this up all the time. Guys, he brings this up all the time, but I have no memory of it happening. So
Oh, really?
let's
I
just
was
say,
deployed, but
yeah.
your mom used to talk about it all the time. Um,
Yeah.
so like she didn't even watch TV during this period because you weren't getting your work done.
Yeah, I guess it's just
I actually was thinking about this a little bit last night of how you grew up. It's very strange to me because we consider us pretty easy parents, but at the same time, we had a standard for you. Honestly, like eighth grade on, I don't think we ever said anything to you about school.
yeah, you always think about other people, the stereotypical parents that have high expectations and they like push it on their kids and they're like, you need to be doing this and this and this. And you guys were like never the parents that were like pushing expectations. But at the same time, I always knew, especially from mom, who's a genius, of course, that there was that expectation. It was just kind of like silently in the background. But at the same time, I also just like intrinsically had that expectation of myself, especially in high school.
Yeah. In high school, if anything, I definitely remember there were times where me and you argued because I was going to take you out of sports because you wouldn't stop working on schoolwork till like 2 in the morning and you wouldn't follow my mantra of good enough. If anything, yeah, we tried to talk you out of stuff at times.
Yeah. I mean, that was definitely something that changed going to college. Going to
Yeah.
college, everything was, yeah, this is good enough. I always think back to high school and the expectations I had on myself. What was even my point? Once again, like, there was no extrinsic motivation of, like, I need to get into, like, Harvard or something. My goals for myself outside of high school were pretty attainable in the way of there was no reason for me to be this perfectionist
Right,
of
because you decided where you wanted to go to college, like in seventh grade or something.
mhm.
And we'll just say it was not Harvard.
Yeah, we'll just say it
Yeah.
wasn't Harvard. It wasn't anything
But
crazy. It wasn't USC.
yeah, it was not Rory Gilmore.
Yeah,
Uh,
no Rory Gilmore over here.
type school. But I do want to back up for a second, Brooke, and talk about something that a lot of us were affected with throughout school, and that's bullying. In my generation, a lot of times I would get off the bus or at my bus stop, and most of that bullying would be gone. If it was on a Friday, I didn't have to hear about it. Over the weekend, it was just done. I think
Mhm.
that's a lot different in your generation, isn't it?
I don't know. It's so hard to say because my school system was such an even playing field. Like, I guess you hear, and I know that you talked about it a little bit too, of like being encountered with these people who were more upper class, I guess, or like
Hmm.
more privileged monetarily, and so like there being kind of that class divide wasn't something I ever really experienced in school, and so it's hard to say if maybe that was part of it, but I don't know. I feel like there's always this empathy that comes with everybody living the same kind of shared experience, which is something that was very prevalent in my school system. But I do also know that, like, you watch TV shows and movies that are, like, quintessential Gen Z, and they're very, like, anti-bullying or, like, bullying doesn't exist. So maybe it's, like, a little bit of both.
Of course, your mom was a teacher or is a
Mhm.
teacher still, and I substitute taught. I definitely saw the bullying. And I know your mom
Mm.
has too. I understand you were lucky not to be bullied. You're too cool for that.
No,
No,
I
but
wasn't.
what
Not in middle school.
no, you were Yeah, either way. But what I was getting at is, I see today one of the biggest challenges some of these kids face is from somebody who's being bullied, I guess I'm more empathetic towards it, is it doesn't go away. It can be 24/7 now with
Yeah.
social media,
Mhm.
Snapchat. Hear these stories of people sending snaps to the whole school of different things. Do you know anybody who's kind of went through that?
Yeah, I could probably give countless stories of something like that. Growing up, there's nothing I know no different, right? Because social media was already a big thing by the time I
Right.
had hit middle school. Like, Instagram was already everywhere, Snapchat was already everywhere, Facebook had been
It was
around
everywhere
for.
well before you got to middle school.
Right, exactly. And so I clearly knew no different, but there were definitely countless stories that I could tell of people being bullied through Instagram and Snapchat especially. And I think, like, the biggest thing too was, like, people getting in arguments over Snapchat and these arguments being public because, of course, you
Right.
can easily screenshot a conversation
Right.
and, like, blast somebody on your
Mhm.
Snapchat story. And
Right.
so it was
You can
just
send it to
weird.
the whole school like a personal text, and there no real privileged communication, I guess, would be a way to put it.
Yeah.
It's kinda like the old joke, I'm lucky because my generation, even into my 20s, there's no, like, photographic evidence or
Mhm.
video evidence, especially of what we did
Yeah.
or
I mean,
said,
you even hear of, like, Instagram and TikTok influencers now being canceled because of, like, Snapchat screenshots from, like, 2014, 2012.
Right, exactly, yeah,
That was, like, over a decade ago, and somehow they're
mhm.
still out there.
Yeah. Nothing ever dies once it's on the internet. It does not go away,
Mhm.
regardless of what they tell you. Yeah, so I feel like I'm fortunate in that situation. When I was younger, you'll never find videos of me saying crazy stuff. Not that I would, but I do think that's kind of interesting. One major difference between our schooling was one, we already talked about, you're a high achiever. I was
Mhm.
naturally kind of smart enough to get by. I didn't really have to do work, so I did the bare minimum I could. Um, but that being said, we both had to do like papers and stuff. How
Mhm.
do you think we did it back in the day?
I mean, I'm so confused because it's so easy, especially I think more so about writing a paper on a book. Like, I, in high school, wrote so many essays about books that we had
Mhm.
to read in class, and
Yeah.
shout out Sparks Notes. I'm sure everybody who
Mm.
went to high school around the same time as me knows about Smart Sparks Notes, or, like, Cliff Notes even, where
Yeah.
you could just get all the information on a book so easily that you would need for your essay. It's almost like ChatGPT, it kinda wrote it for you because you had all of your information right there. So, I don't
Right.
know how you would
So
do that.
we actually had, Cliff Notes books you had to buy
Oh,
back
what
in the
the heck?
day. Yeah. Um, but not many people used them as much, especially like where I went to school in my classes too, because I guess I was like in different classes. So a lot of the people in my classes, we didn't want to use those because that was something we enjoyed doing
Oh,
was
okay.
reading and writing book reports and stuff. It was just something I had done in my classes because I got put into the special classes early, but they did have Cliff Note books. Have you ever looked in an encyclopedia for anything?
No, I don't think so. I don't think I've ever cracked open an encyclopedia.
That was the way we had to do research papers was
Wow.
encyclopedias. You had through most of your school age the knowledge of the world at the tip of your finger at any
Mhm.
moment. So what was that like? I mean, it would be so easy to cheat now.
Yeah, I mean, and we didn't get AI, obviously, until I was in my second to last year of college, and once AI hit, it was like everybody was cheating.
Right.
Like, I guess it depends on what you count as cheating now. with AI now that it's
Right.
been around for a few years, but it definitely felt like you would be reading discussion posts and you could tell like everybody was just copy pasting from ChatGPT. Would
Right.
have like the M dashes and whatever,
Yep.
like your classic signs of AI. And at first, there was no way of professors being able to tell the difference because it hadn't been around long enough for them to recognize the signs. So it was just like everybody was cheating and nobody was doing anything about it, I guess. But in high school, as far as like using the internet goes, we're taught how to cite our sources properly. That
Right.
was always like a big priority. And so if you were going to use the internet for any of your work, then you knew
Okay.
how to use it,
Maybe
I guess.
I won't say grew up with different morals, but we grew up differently in our approach to school because I just think you were too goody two shoes. Because, there
Yeah,
was
maybe I
people.
just don't know the methods.
Yeah, exactly. Because your mom would always talk about people would copy stuff straight from Wikipedia for a research paper.
Oh, no. Yeah, I guess I've definitely heard of people doing that, but to me, like, in high school, I would hear of, like, my classmates copy pasting something from, let's say, Sparks Notes or Wikipedia or whatever, and I would just kinda, like, roll my eyes, like, "Okay, obviously, they're not gonna get away with that, like, why would they even do that?
Yeah,
The
that's the
teacher's gonna
problem here.
know."
You're too much of a goody two shoe. When I was in high school, I found more fun trying to invent ways to cheat than like actually studying.
Yeah, I guess
I
I
would
was just, like, not concerned.
one of my favorites was I would have like a button up shirt and it would have a little pocket,
Mhm.
right? And so I'd make notes and I would stuff it in there and pull my pocket out. And then when I'm sitting there, I can like read the notes.
Okay, I don't know if this counts as cheating. Are you familiar with, like, Quizlet?
Yeah, I was going to get to like Quizlet and that kind of stuff. But yeah, that's a tool you guys have now.
Yeah, so like Quizlet was big in high school because teachers, of course, recycled their tests other places, like either themselves using it year after year or just
Right,
using it from another teacher. So I felt like you could always find your teacher's test on something on Quizlet before the test. And so I would
right.
always study the Quizlet and just memorize all of the answers. And I don't know if that counts as cheating or if that's like, okay, that's a study method. Because it wasn't
Uh,
like I was necessarily learning the material all the time
right.
as much as just, like, memorizing the answers.
I guess it's not really cheating as much. It's interesting, but one thing I will say in all this, I think that I see lost in your generation, you can correct me if I'm wrong, is that through these online methods and easier methods of actually getting information and at times, like you said, not fully understanding the information, just copy pasting or just memorizing the answers. I think a lot of times I see in your generation a lot of nuance is lost, meaning people have a hard time understanding that two things can be true at once, or just because you believe X doesn't mean Z isn't true. Does
Mm.
that make sense a little bit?
Yeah, I think I know what you're talking about, yeah.
I could definitely give some examples that we may not want to get into on this podcast, but in today's political world, they can say this, this, and this, but not understand that this, and this is also true.
Right, and I think it's funny you say that, like, in college, that was definitely more prevalent of, like, higher institutions now, of course, are very, liberal or whatever term you'd like to use, and professors usually sway the same way, and so you always hear this thing of, like, if somebody is a Republican and is going to a higher institution, they always have to pretend to be a different
Yeah.
political party when they're writing their papers just so that they can get a good grade.
I guess another way to put what I was trying to say when not understanding nuance is I think in your generation, I see a lot of like, it's either I'm completely over here on this side or I'm completely over here on this side.
Mhm.
And this side can never be right. And the middle, no way.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm getting at when I say nuance and maybe understanding that the both sides have things in common and there's things in the middle. And you may lean to one side, but that doesn't make that side perfect all the time. Believe me.
Mhm.
And sometimes the guy on the other side actually does do something good, right?
Mhm.
If that makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah, I definitely get that, and I think I don't know, I just feel like you see more professors swing, like, a totally like, certain way rather than them
Sure.
being in the middle ground, and so I think that's where that kind of comes in of, like, students now feel like they need to, like, also swing that way just so that they can
Mhm. That's
get
part
that
of
good
it, I
grade.
think, I guess, but I still think it's not fully understanding what you learned throughout history and everything, and just seeing that there's lots of different ways to think, because
Mhm,
what kids should learn, which we've kinda gotten away from even before your generation, is you should learn how to think, not
mhm.
how to recite a date or look at Quizlet and memorize these things and reproduce it on a paper, but learning how to think, I think, is
Yeah.
really what I'm trying to get at here.
Mhm. Yeah, I definitely think that, that sort of, like, creative thinking or even, like, critical thinking
Mhm.
in different ways was probably lost along the
Yep.
way.
Yeah, and because I think a lot of it also comes from the fact that it's so easy too to not have to think, right?
Mhm.
Even now, I mean, I know people my age and older who have lost a lot of their thinking ability,
Oh,
right?
yeah, absolutely, like,
Because
we
they
just
just
keep
simply one, if you go back to the political example, they just click on a certain website every day, right?
Mhm. Yep.
And it tells them exactly what they want to hear, echo chamber, right? And the other
Mhm.
thing is now we don't really have to think a lot. Oh, I'll just ask ChatGPT
Exactly.
or
Yeah.
I'll just
Like, we
Google
just
it.
keep on getting more and more resources that allow us to not have to think, so
Yeah, exactly. So it's not a total indictment on Gen Z, but I feel like a lot of the younger generations didn't even start there
Mhm.
with a good opportunity to kind of learn to think on their own a little bit.
Yeah.
And I do think that was lost over time in school.
Mhm.
How often did you guys have recess in grade school?
Oh my gosh, I was telling a friend about this the other day too. So, at every school except for the school that I went to in 3rd grade, we had recess every day. But in 3rd grade, we were living in Florida at the time.
Yep.
We never had recess. We weren't even allowed to go outside during lunch. They would make us
Wow.
sit at the lunch tables, never went outside.
That's crazy. We had like
Mhm.
first through sixth grade, I think. Maybe I know up until third grade at least, maybe fourth grade, we had 3 recesses a day.
3 recesses? You're kidding.
Yeah, like outside.
Now, maybe in, like, kindergarten or, like, 1st and 2nd grade, I don't remember those too well.
Yeah,
No,
maybe it
definitely
was
not
only till
2nd
like
grade.
third grade
But, like, 1st and kindergarten, maybe we had multiple recesses?
because back in the day, recess in Gen X, recess is how you became a man, an adult, because that's where it went down was on
Yeah, I don't
recess.
think that has changed. I don't think that has changed. I know that, my husband always talks about what things he got up to during recess too,
Yeah, it
so
was it was crazy. We used to play all kinds of games and like stuff, just be out there killing each other
Mhm.
at recess. I don't know if kids still did that.
I would hope that recess is still around. I mean, that was, like the 3rd grade thing is a one-off situation, right? That we didn't have recess, and I still to this day don't really know what was going on with that. None of my other schools were that way, so I don't know.
Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, because recess was quite the zoo at times
I
when you
would
were
say
younger.
recess was the zoo for me as well.
In my day, people would literally fall off like the dang jungle gym from the top, and those things were like 20 foot high and break an arm at recess, and that was nothing.
Yeah. No, I remember, like, in 4th grade, I think it was, I fell off it was, like, icy during recess, they still let us play on this playground that was, like, fully metal, and I slipped on the ice on the off the top of this ladder, and I came tumbling down, and I hit my back, and I
Mm.
lost, like, my breath, like, fully had the breath knocked out of me, and I remember I was, like, crawling towards the recess monitor, like, "I can't breathe." He's, like, looking down at me, like he literally goes, "You're fine, get up." I was
Yeah.
like, "No, really?" So,
You didn't have like some of the death machines, like
yeah,
the
I don't know.
merry-go-round where you would just spin and kids would go flying off of it.
They had built a new playground at my middle school, and the first day that they had opened up the playground, this kid broke his arm and it was bent into a U shape,
Nice.
and then they closed the playground, like, right after that, and I don't I don't think it was
Man, I
ever
remember at
opened
times
back
that
up.
was almost a daily occurrence at school. Somebody broke their arm at recess, either playing like we played a game. I'm not going to say the name of it. I've heard it called different things, but essentially you would take turns with a ball and running with it, and people just tackle you.
Okay.
And then
Is
once you're
that not
tackled,
just football?
no, it's kind of like football, yeah, but no, it's I'm trying to think of the correct name for it now because back in my generation it was called something that you shouldn't say right now, but
Okay. Guys.
but they got another name for it now. But yeah, and you would just run as hard as you could until somebody just smashes you. No point in this game
I was gonna
whatsoever.
say, what's the objective here?
There is no objective. Try to run as long as you can before getting smashed. And then, because once you were smashed, you just throw the ball up in the air. The next person will grab it, and
Okay, I was
off
gonna
we
say
all
like
go get.
what's the point of the ball? Like it is
That
it
means
that's
you're
just like it's your turn to get smashed?
pretty much, yeah, yeah, yeah. And then like we would like give kids crap if they tried to, they're getting chased and then they just drop the ball or throw it up before they get smashed.
Before.
Yeah, because that was like, you can't be doing that. It's weak.
Okay.
But yeah, we play that all the time, man. Even like outside of school, it's just everybody's favorite thing to do. And you didn't score points; you just ran around until you were exhausted if you were fast enough, and then just everybody clobbers you.
Okay.
We played like prisoner dodgeball in gym class with the red balls that hurt. You could take people's heads off with that thing. And then we would play at recess another game of dodgeball where you would have like 7 people lined up on the wall,
Mhm.
and one person has a ball and they throw it.
Yeah, like wall
And then,
ball? You're talking about wall ball.
no, like the people, you're throwing it at the people lined on the wall.
Yeah, that's wall ball.
So they can try to catch it and then take your place. But if
Mhm.
not, it's kind of like like a jackass episode because if not, you're just getting hit
No,
and
yeah,
you're
that's
still
wall
on the.
ball. That was a Gen Z thing too. We played that in PE
Yeah, but you
even.
guys had those plush balls and stuff.
Oh no, yeah, we did not have like the bouncy rubber.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
think when was it that I like realized that dodgeball used to be played with like the
yeah.
bouncy
The
rubber balls? Because I
kickball.
was in shock. Yeah, the
Yeah, the
kickballs.
kickball. Yeah. That's how we played like all dodgeball was with those kickballs, man.
No, I've always
You did.
known like dodgeball to be those little like
Yeah,
plushy.
plush.
Is that
You guys didn't even have tetherball,
yeah, I had tetherball.
did you? Yeah, we
Mhm.
had a lot of tetherball. I don't know why. I think again because there was a chance of smashing people in the face with the ball.
Yeah, I was gonna
Mm,
say tetherball can get violent if you're playing with an opponent you don't like.
yeah, I think again that's why it was so popular when I was in school. Was you smash people in the face again with a ball.
Gen X recess is just recess of chaos and violence.
It was, man. It was like what did people say? It was like Lord of the Flies, man. Like
Mm,
enter the Thunderdome every time at recess.
the Hunger Games.
Yeah, it was truly the Thunderdome. It was wild. So let's move on. Let's
Okay.
get to the crossover. You watch Clueless. I watch High School Musical.
Hmm.
Why don't you go first, Veruca?
Okay, yeah. So I watched Clueless. I think this is such a to me, it's like quintessential California Gen X high school. Like it's
Yeah.
always what I think people talk about. This is what I imagine high school was gonna be like for me. And Clueless is like one of those movies. You think everybody's gonna be all fashionable. It's all about parties and dating and whatever and all these fun things happening. That's like Clueless to me. I know that one of your favorite things about it is the soundtrack, but for me it's definitely the fashion, which I'm curious if you think that that was more of a like California thing or if that's like really the way it was.
So obviously, Clueless is actually one of my favorite movies ever. First of all, so let me say that. I absolutely love that movie, always have. I do have the 20th anniversary vinyl of the
Mhm.
soundtrack, which I recently got. It cost me a lot of money, and I opened it anyway. But it was definitely California. There were things that you would see at like my school, but not as much. It was over the
Mhm.
top. Obviously I didn't grow up in California for sure. I grew up in Indiana, so we were a little bit behind on fashion and stuff like that. But I did see a few of the boys, especially that were dressed the way guys in my school dressed.
Mm.
Not like Christian, definitely not like him, but some of the other guys, like the skaters and stuff especially,
Mhm.
that
Like
they
the
show.
JNCO jeans and whatever.
Yeah, like that's one thing, the JNCO jeans that I never took part of and never will, because they're trying to bring them back. That's a no for me.
Yeah, I
Huge
think that's
no
a
for
no for
me,
me too.
the JNCO jeans. But yeah, kinda like the JNCO jeans and a lot of the skater type stuff you see in some of the
Mhm.
scenes. And what is his character's name? I know the actor, Breckenmeyer, the one who's gonna throw himself out of the window,
I forget. Is
and he
it
does.
Travis?
Yeah,
'Cause
Travis, yeah.
Elton okay.
Yeah, Travis. Yeah, a lot of people are kinda, like, dressed like him, and then, like, the guys when they're, like, coming up to Cher, and she's like, as if."
Mhm.
I will say Clueless was such a landmark piece because of the people that were in it too.
Mhm.
Of course, Alicia Silverstone, Brittany Murphy,
Mhm.
another actress that was lost, especially her
Mhm.
way too soon. And, you have the guy that plays Turk, Donald Faison, that's his name.
Yeah.
Yeah, from Scrubs. You have the ageless one, Paul Rudd, Ant-Man.
Oh. Yeah.
Yeah. So, and I cannot remember Dion's real name, the actress. So was your high school experience like that after watching it and thinking, "Oh, it's gonna be like this?"
So one of the things I always think about with, like, Clueless when I rewatch it is, like, they look like and I know that, of course, high school movies, they always cast
Right,
people that are older than actual high schoolers, right? But
right,
to me, like, the characters themselves just, like, look and act and, like, the problems they go through just seem so much more adult than, like, my
right.
high school
Yeah,
experience was. And I don't
yeah.
know if
That
that's, like, maybe Gen X was just more mature or if that's, like, what's going on there.
what specifically are you talking about? Let's start there.
Okay, like, so many things. Like, I can never imagine there being a friendship like Dion and Cher, where
Mhm.
they just seem like so mature and they like the way they like bounce ideas off of each other. It's like always to I don't know, like it's like the lack of cringe, I guess, that's
Lack of
there.
cringe.
And then like also when they go to all of these parties, they're always talking about going to parties. And then there's even like the one scene they go to. I don't know if it's like a concert or a club when they go
Right.
with
And the Mighty
Paul
Mighty
Rudd
Boss Tones
shows
are
up.
playing.
Yeah, Christian's there and he goes with Cher and everything, right?
Yeah.
Like that is definitely a big part of it too. Like the parties.
Yeah, maybe that's what happens out in California in these bigger places. I don't know. I can't speak about that. We've had this conversation numerous times about TV shows that focus on high school. I didn't see it as much when I was younger, but I see it now. It just absolutely drives me nuts because they put these adults in these high school roles and they hypersexualize them, and they, like you said, they allude to problems in their lives that are more adult focused.
Mhm.
And especially like usually most of us, our first 2 years of high school is nothing like that.
Yeah.
We're
Or
just
even
trying
like
to get by, man, and not get bullied sometimes.
yeah. And even like the bigger topic of course of Clueless or not the bigger topic, but the bigger problem that Cher faces, right, is Brittany Murphy's character. She like they go through this whole thing where Cher tries to convert her image, right?
Yep.
Gets her into the cool crowd, and then they kind of have like their friendship breakup where Brittany Murphy's character is like, "This isn't me," and
Ty.
Cher is Ty, yes, and Ty is like, "This isn't me," and she doesn't like Cher anymore, and they argue about Paul Rudd. Cher tries to hook Ty up with Elton, but then towards the end, Ty says that she is in love with Paul Rudd's character.
Yeah.
And then that's when Cher's like, no, 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 no.
No,
And
no,
they
no,
kind
no.
of have like this big friendship breakup, right? But then at the very end, they kind of go back to it. And Cher's like, I'm so sorry I tried to make you into somebody else, right?
Yeah.
Basically, is the thing. And then they become friends again. And Ty is like herself, and Cher accepts her for being herself and
Yeah.
everything. And Cher even takes the responsibility of like, this was all my fault. But you would never see a high school friendship break up like that. At least not for Gen Z. Because it would
Oh,
never come like back to full circle like that.
One thing I do see in that movie, kinda like what you're talking about, is like in Mean Girls when, they go through everything with Regina and then all of a sudden everybody in the school's best friends,
Mhm.
right? That that's not real.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, like, that's not real, and it's kinda the same thing, I think, where now all of a sudden, like, Cher's, like, really friendly with Travis too.
Yeah, yeah, I
Yeah.
guess there's that. But even beyond that, it's just like the maturity and responsibility that Cher has at the end of the movie to be like, I'm sorry I did all of these things, and I accept you for who you really are. Now we're best friends.
I don't know if that's that far off. I think a lot of the movies like that, Now We're All Best Friends, which happened in the movie I watched too, which is insane to me,
Mhm.
those high school movies. But in the end, I know the answer, but do you like it?
Yeah, of course I like Clueless. Yeah, I think, like I said, it was like one of those movies growing up. You're like, my high school experience is gonna be like this,
Yeah.
and it's gonna be
You thought
awesome.
you were
And then
gonna drive a Jeep and, like, hit people and be like, "My bad."
I totally paused.
Yeah, exactly. It's just another one of those movies, like, where they're doing things that high schoolers don't do. It's like those movies and TV shows where they're always not in class. I skipped class too, but it wasn't like we were just hanging out in the halls if you did that.
Yeah.
Discussing our love lives, you had to, like, get out of there or something. So, I'm gonna talk about High School Musical. So, I thought while you were growing up that I had seen most of it over the years, like, at least 3 or
Okay.
4 times. I
Mhm.
haven't, or at least if I did, I didn't pay attention to it because I know for sure I'd never seen the opening before.
I think the opening is something that is, like, forgotten by most people.
Okay, well, it should be because that opening is something where they're, like, at the karaoke, and now they're
Yeah, why
both,
don't
like
why don't you explain the opening for the viewer?
they open and they're at a ski resort. It's New Year's Eve, and the mom
Mhm,
sends Troy, that's his name, Zac Efron's character, down to, like, the teen club or whatever, I guess
mhm.
that's supposed to be, and then, Vanessa Hudgens' character, Gabriella, right?
Gabrielle, yep.
Yep. Is down there, and then somehow, some way, Troy gets pushed to the microphone to sing this song that I'd never heard before,
Mhm.
and it does number 1, it's not a song that, like, I would expect any high school guy to try to sing,
Okay,
especially
what's
a jock.
just to interject real quick, the song that they sing is original to the soundtrack. Everything that's in
Right.
High School Musical was written for the High School Musical
Okay,
soundtrack.
but okay, fair. Okay, but the song style just is not something I think a 16-year-old, 15-year-old boy who plays basketball would sing
Clearly,
in front of people he
this
don't
movie
know.
was not made for the boy audience.
So he starts singing this song, and then she comes up there because it's a duet, and it is like the longest karaoke song I've ever seen in my life.
That is true. They really drag it out.
And like, it's all great, and they're just these wonderful performers who've never sung in public before. Then
And it's love
they
at
have
first sight.
yeah, love at first sight. Then they have the awkward moment where he doesn't kiss her and she runs off.
Mhm.
Yeah, but they put each other's numbers in their phones or something. The opening scene for me was just like, oh my God. Are we serious right now? I'm just watching it and I just can't, man. Like it was like it was too ridiculous for me.
I think that that is exactly what is appreciated about High School Musical by everybody who still watches it, rewatches it growing up.
I
It's
couldn't
like
imagine rewatching it.
it's so cringy, but it's like funny because of it, and it's like exactly what makes it more entertaining.
It's beyond cringy to me. I'm just like, this is what, like you got to watch Clueless and I have to watch this. I just kind of kept waiting for things to kind of be different and better, but they never did. But I will say a couple things. One, what is up with Sharpay and Ryan's relationship? Because that's just weird, man.
Okay, I mean, they're siblings, of course, right?
Yeah.
And I think that they clearly are like your quintessential drama kids.
Yeah, but they're brother and sister, dude.
Yeah, it's not a romantic relationship if that's what you're
Is
thinking.
it, though?
No, it's not. See, okay, this is
I
why
would
I
not
said
be 100% sure on that because it gets weird.
no, and obviously Ryan is gay, okay? And it's, like, kind of like they're siblings, and Sharpay is, like Ryan to Sharpay is her gay best friend. Which I
I don't
think
know.
sometimes is, like, a little bit of a weird relationship for people in general.
Well,
Is
like
the girl
Cher and
and her, like,
Christian?
gay best friend. No, they never have that, like, gay best friend and girl.
Yeah, they do later once she really finds out the
I
truth.
guess towards the end, but you never really get to see,
Yeah,
like, the true
you
relationship
know,
of
'cause
it.
sh
But I think that those friendships can always be a little, like, funny and weird, and it's like they push each other to the max on everything, right? And I don't know, they're siblings. If you watch see, I said that he had to watch the second High School Musical.
not happening.
I think that it just does so much for the plot. You get to they do 'em you're
There's a
laughing.
plot? No.
You're laughing, but I'm, like, dead serious. Um, it does so much for the plot. The characters, everything is just, like, a little more serious, okay, like, it has lost a lot of its cringe factor, they kind of get the wardrobe under control, and, like, the characters are better developed and everything, like, it's really,
Okay, okay, let's why did they have to make 'em brother and sister, though?
because it's funny, I don't know. When I was a kid, I always remembered there being Disney movies, kids TV shows where there's this evil sibling combination. They're either
Okay.
twins or they're just, like, really close in
Zack
age
and
as
Cody?
siblings. No, they're not an example. Obviously, like, I'm talking about the antagonist, not the main character, okay? And I feel like that's, like that was just part of the, template, I guess, at the
Okay,
time, and it just happened to be Sharpay and Ryan for High School Musical.
okay. So, I noticed a couple things, and I
Okay.
wonder if they're purposeful. Did High School Musical come before Pitch Perfect? I think it did,
Yeah, I would say yeah, definitely. Didn't Pitch Perfect come
because
out towards, like, 2010 or after?
yeah, probably. I was watching the audition scene of High
Oh, and
School
it's a lot
Musical.
like
Yeah,
the
that and
Pitch
Pitch
Perfect
so,
one.
yeah, it is exactly like the Pitch Perfect one, you know? I don't know, I wonder if that was purposeful by Pitch Perfect, or is that's just how you do a tryout montage, I don't know.
Yeah, maybe. Okay, I think that maybe you focused a little too much on the cringe, and I think you lost some of the, like, really funny quotes. Cause when and you
Well,
brought up
there is a
the
funny quote I love.
okay, what?
The, "I don't wanna be the school's freaky genius girl again."
Oh, okay, yeah, that's a good one, yeah. But during the audition scene, there's, like, those 2 kids, they come up, they do this really weird audition, and Miss Darbus goes she says something like, "That was concerning, go to the counselor's office."
Yeah, I remember that.
Okay, that was hilarious.
I mean, it's funny, but, like, yeah. The other thing I noticed too, at the end
Mhm.
now, was this before or after Bring It On?
This was absolutely after Bring It On.
So, then they copied the opening scene of Bring It On at the
You
end,
think? I don't know
the
that
High
that
School
was
Music
necessarily
yeah, with the
intentional, though.
cheerleaders.
No, yeah, I
It's the
got you,
exact
but
same
I think that
scene, exact same red outfits, exact same scene,
I
exact
do think
scene,
it was, like,
camera angle.
set up the camera angle and, like, the way that they filmed it in the gym because you have, like, the bleachers perfectly
Yep,
set against the camera
yep.
angle. I definitely do think that's similar, but I don't know that it was necessarily intentional.
I think it was.
Mm,
You know, they do that in TV shows and movies just to, like, pay homage to things. Because
yeah.
I sent you something this week, it never dawned on me
Mhm.
that, they had Winona Ryder chop off Vecna's head, like the same way she chopped off Dracula's head in Bram Stoker's Dracula.
Oh, interesting. I've never seen that movie,
Yeah.
so, yeah, I wouldn't have caught that.
You
That's
know,
interesting.
again, this is one of those movies where everybody's besties all of a sudden.
Obviously, that was, like, a definitely, like, a major theme of that movie. I mean, I think if you don't really pay attention to the music, you kind of lose some of the story because there's a whole scene where they have, like, the musical number in the cafeteria,
Yeah, yeah,
and it's
yeah,
called
and they're like
"To the Status Quo."
yeah, yeah, that scene where they're all, like, coming up with weird things like the creme brulee guy.
Yeah, Zeke.
And the girl that okay, that was cringy as heck. That was bad. The hip hop girl.
Yes. You know what? Her character and Zeke, the guy who has like the creme brulee thing, whatever, they both get like bigger parts as the movies go on. Okay, and they're like more of
Okay.
the characters that they focus on. But the girl who does like the breakdancing thing, she must have loved having that role. Because she still, to this day, like posts about High School Musical daily on TikTok.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I mean, that's her thing, man. Stay in the conversation, whatever, what have you.
Yeah.
You know,
Iconic.
yeah. I can't. Yeah, but that was, like cringe isn't the word I use, but that was definitely
And I like
cringe.
to pop and lock.
The lie, yeah, that was like, I was like, I don't know, is this racist or like,
What? I don't think it was ever meant to go there. I
but
think
it's just
Zeke,
so
though, with his creme
cringy.
brulee is like one of my favorite things. He's like one of my favorite characters. So
Then like the quote unquote skater, what would he want to do? Play cello?
I don't remember that.
I don't remember either what he wanted to do, It's ridiculous. Ridiculous.
It's awesome. Yeah. So so you have like kind of the breaking down of like these click boundaries, right? And then at
Yeah.
the end they're all like, you can do both. You can do it all. Really.
Yeah.
And so and the second movie is important because they're really like faced with the challenge of can you do both? I'm being serious. Like they did
No, there's nothing serious about this High School Musical.
there's like this whole thing about like Troy is up for a possible like basketball scholarship and his dad of course is like you need to focus on basketball and he's like and Gabrielle's kind of like is that really what you want to do and yeah so it's good stuff. I don't know.
It's good stuff.
I will say one thing I always forget is the only thing that is really regrettable about that movie is
Is the fact that I watched it.
no, that was obviously a fantastic choice. Is like the way that they handle the music in the movie. I don't know if you noticed it, and I didn't notice it really until like one of my more recent rewatches of it. Is that like whenever they do the songs, the ensemble volume is so quiet.
Mm,
Did you notice that?
yeah. I don't know that I noticed that. I know, like, I'll tell you, speaking of the musical part, that dang end scene would not end.
Yeah.
It goes on for like
That's how
20
I
minutes.
feel. No, I don't feel that about that end scene. In fact, that dance is iconic. There are people that grew up with High School Musical that still know that dance by heart. I definitely learned it at one point, but I don't remember it now. The only scene that I just wish would have ended a little shorter, besides I guess the karaoke at the beginning, which is forgettable, but is the get your head in the game
Yeah.
part. Like it was so awkward. It's just like awkwardly quiet, awkwardly long.
Yeah, and they're like trying to like dribble basketballs and
Yeah.
yeah, it's a little weird. A lot of it's a little weird. I don't like it. It's
Yeah.
too no.
You just don't understand.
I guess I just don't get it. Like I can't even think of something that would be comparable in my generation.
Yeah, because obviously y'all weren't original and creative and whimsical enough to
So
have
did your
something as
school
fantastic as High School Musical.
Yeah, how many times did your school break out into a musical?
I mean, I think I can give you a few examples. Like one time,
I don't even know. What is it, like the 20th anniversary, 25th anniversary or something
yeah, something like that.
this year of
I
High
think it
School
was in
Musical?
yeah, like earlier this month was like the 20.
Yeah. Did the kid that played Ryan do anything in his career? Obviously Zac Efron and Vanessa Hudgens and Ashley Tisdale done other
I
things.
don't really think so. I feel like I can remember him being in maybe one other thing besides the High School Musical franchise, but yeah, no, not really. I think he just kind of fell off.
Okay. I was just curious because I can't remember seeing that kid anywhere.
Yeah.
And if I watch something like that, I always like to look at who's in it.
Mhm.
kind of before you go back and watch some things and you're like, holy cow, I never noticed this person was in this
Mhm.
before they got big.
Yeah.
Don't get it, man. I do not get it at all.
You
It's
should get
just,
it because isn't Indiana, like, the basketball state? And it's all about
yeah, but this took place in New Mexico.
No, actually, that was another fun fact I was gonna tell you.
Yeah, it's in Salt
Salt Lake
Lake.
City, yeah.
Yeah, but the school was in New Mexico.
No, the school is in Salt Lake City.
I know the actual school is in Salt Lake City, but
Oh, you're
they're in
talking about
Albuquerque.
it's placed in set in Albuquerque, yeah. I do remember that.
Yeah. Because I was confused for a second because I swore we went and saw the real school when we were in Salt Lake City.
Mhm.
And then it takes place in Albuquerque. Another thing I wanted to talk about with High School Musical
Okay.
that kind of bugged me. I mean, it all bugged me. But but Sharpay, it reminded me. I just had a problem with like how quickly like Sharpay and Ryan's beef were resolved. They just
What beef did they have?
not between each other, but with like Troy and Gabriella
Oh,
and the whole not being in the musical, and then all of a sudden they're just dancing around with everybody else and like they love it everybody again.
yeah.
We never get like why that is, you know?
I mean, I guess in the first movie it ends, right? And they're like kind of cool with one another. Like she kind of accepts it, right? She's like tells Gabriella congrats or
Yeah,
whatever
yeah,
and then
yeah,
moves on.
exactly. That's my whole
And I
point.
think like but one thing about that is I don't know, maybe that's just like another thing of like high school movies where they like make the characters more mature than they really
Yeah.
were. Like same with Clueless, like I said, Cher like coming back to Ty and being like, "Sorry, I did all that." But in the second movie, in the next
I'm not
movies,
watching
they
it.
have not that becomes an issue again, let's say. So,
Okay.
yeah, maybe closer to Cher.
I don't even want to go in. I'm done with this movie. I'm done with High School.
I'm disappointed that you didn't like High School Musical.
What?
I
What is
think
there
you
to like?
just
It's
it's just
ridiculous.
iconic.
Yeah, no.
Oh,
So next week, Veruca will not be joining us on the pod. She thinks she's too good for it. She has other duties to attend to. I will be having another co-host. I won't quite call him a guest. Would you, Veruca?
yeah, I think she's a co-host,
Yeah, a
not a
co-host.
guest, yeah.
Because we definitely already had planned for her to be in the big special podcast that's coming up
Mhm. Mhm.
in the next month or so. So be on the lookout for that, a very big and special one. She was definitely going to be on that, but she's actually a Gen Zer as well.
Mm.
So you still get the Gen Z perspective. And if nothing else, her and Veruca see eye to eye on Taylor. So we can always have that argument. But yeah, I'll be hosting with Mac next week. I think all in all, high school can be a problem, right? And I think we both agree that high school was nothing like either of the movies we watched.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
You know,
Disappointingly so.
yeah, probably disappointingly so in both cases. Honestly, I may not have
Mhm.
liked High School Musical, but the way it ended, where everybody's best friends is right.
Mm.
It's kind of a good
What about
thing.
breaking out in musical numbers? Would you have preferred that?
I've been okay with it, maybe. Because
I
like
love
inside
this
me,
take.
there's a theater kid inside me.
Oh, really? So you're like
Yeah,
Troy Bolton then?
no,
I think
like
so.
no, I can't sing, but I always was like into drama.
Okay.
I like to act. When I was
Mhm.
younger, and I just found though that like some of my writing was better than my acting at times, and
Okay.
you know,
Mm.
I have a face for radio, as they say. You just now get it?
No,
A
it's just
face for
silly.
radio?
Yeah, I get it.
Is that a dad joke?
I think so, yeah, because that wasn't that funny.
What? That's hilarious.
Okay.
But I was on the radio too, so there you go. Um, yeah, you're a fool.
Are you still laughing at it?
Okay, so go ahead and finish this off, Veruca.
Yeah, well, I'm excited for next week. I think it's gonna be probably the best episode so far. I think that this the co-host is really special, and I think she's just so entertaining. So I'm excited,
I don't know if it'll be the best ever. It will be the most off the rails probably because,
which is what makes it the best.
you
Make it.
know, Veruca is kind of like the straight person to my comedic attempts. Me and Mac are both like legendary yappers.
Mhm.
Both definitely the type of like thinking inside our heads like, do I ever shut up while you're still talking?
Mhm.
So yeah, thank you for watching from Final to Viral or listening. Thank you. Please like, subscribe, share, anything you can do always helps, and tell a
Even leave a
friend.
negative comment if you
Yeah,
didn't
leave a
like
negative
us.
comment. Yeah, please do. I mean, we can definitely improve, but we can also say your comment's dumb.
Yeah.
Or if you have things you want us to talk about or you want to weigh in on some of the things we talked about, please feel free to. You can
Mhm.
find us
Would
on
love to hear it.
YouTube, Spotify, Instagram, TikTok. I'll leave all that stuff in the show notes. Veruca, you have anything else?
No, I think that's about it.
Yep. Thank you for listening to From Vinyl to Viral. Same culture, different generations. Till next time. Peace.
Peace.